Quick question. How many health devices are you wearing right now? A smartwatch? A fitness tracker? A sleep monitor? Now, here is the question nobody is asking. Do you actually know what those devices are doing with your data? I am Devendra Murmu. I am a cybersecurity professional and I understand how data moves, who profits from it, and what the fine print actually means. I built LifeeCode to bring that perspective to health technology so you can make informed decisions about the devices you wear, the apps you use, and the data you share. Every week, I cut through the noise in health technology, the hype, the marketing, and the fine print, and bring you what actually matters. This week, we are starting with something that affects every single person wearing a health device right now. The FDA just changed the rules, and most people have no idea. Let's get into it.
That smartwatch on your wrist, that fitness band you wear, the devices you trust with your health, well, they're going through a quiet but absolutely massive shift. Today, we're going to break down exactly what that means for your data and, more importantly, for your safety. So just take a quick look at your wrist. Are you wearing a smartwatch, a fitness tracker? If the answer is yes, then what we're about to talk about directly affects you, your health data, and your privacy. Let's get right into it. All right, we're kicking things off with a huge regulatory change. It's something that has quietly redefined the very devices we use to monitor our bodies every day. And honestly, it's introduced a brand new risk you really need to know about.
So here's what happened. For years, the line between what counts as a serious medical device and what's just a simple wellness gadget, well, it was super blurry. But not long ago, the FDA issued new guidance that completely redrew that line, and in the process, it officially reclassified many of the wearables we all use. And here's why that reclassification is such a big deal. You see, a medical device has to go through an intense, rigorous review process to prove it's accurate and safe. But now, a general wellness product is largely exempt from all of that. That means the heart rate monitor or sleep tracker you rely on, it might not need to prove it actually works correctly anymore.
And experts like Omer Inan over at Georgia Tech are sounding the alarm. His point is simple. Just because you slap a wellness label on a blood pressure reading doesn't make an inaccurate number any less dangerous. And that false sense of security, it can lead you to make some really disastrous health decisions. But it's not just about accuracy. There's a massive privacy angle here too. When a device is officially classified as medical, all the data it collects is protected by HIPAA. That's the strict federal law that keeps your personal health information safe. But the moment it's just a wellness product, all those HIPAA protections, they just vanish. As law professor Sharona Hoffman points out, this means the company that made your watch can legally sell your sleep patterns, your heart rate, your activity levels, everything to advertisers and data brokers. And this isn't some far-off risk. It is absolutely happening right now. This whole shift really highlights a growing divide around the world. Here in the US, the focus tends to be on speed and innovation, getting products to market fast. But in the European Union, with its new AI Act, the priority is totally different. It's all about protecting the consumer. As a user, it's pretty critical to know which philosophy your device was built under. Okay, let's switch gears and jump into our rapid-fire briefing. We've got 4 other major stories from the world of health tech that could seriously reshape your health journey. First up, first story, AI. We're all hearing about it, and more people are using it for health advice. But a really shocking new study on OpenAI's ChatGPT Health has raised some major safety alarms, especially when you're asking it for help in an urgent medical situation. So get this. A study in the journal Nature Medicine found an absolutely staggering failure rate. In over half the cases, 51.6% of the time, where emergency care was medically necessary, the AI failed to recommend it. That's literally a coin toss deciding whether you go to the ER or not. And think about this, an estimated 40 million people are using this tool for health advice every single day. That failure rate isn't just a number, it's a massive, systemic safety risk. The takeaway here is crystal clear. AI is a tool, it's not a doctor, especially not in an emergency.
All right, on to our next story. This one is about the most personal data imaginable, your own brain activity. There are new laws popping up to protect it, but here's the catch. Your rights depend entirely on what state you live in.
As it stands right now, only a tiny handful of states have actually passed laws to protect your neural data. And yeah, others are thinking about it, But this patchwork of legislation means that for most people in the US, there is no specific legal protection for their brainwave information. So why does this matter so much? Well, because those consumer EEG headbands and other brain-computer interfaces, they're not covered by HIPAA. So without these new state laws, your literal thought patterns could become just another product, sold off to the highest bidder.
Okay, from privacy to prediction. Our third story is a potential game changer coming out of Duke Health, a simple blood test that might be able to forecast your longevity with, frankly, stunning accuracy.
So what the researchers did was focus on these tiny molecules called pRNAs, which help regulate our genes. And by analyzing these in a simple blood sample, they were able to predict 2-year survival in older adults with 86% accuracy. That is just an incredible level of predictive power from a single blood draw.
And look, this isn't just another data point. This test actually outperforms every other known clinical measure we have, from your age to your cholesterol levels. This could be what fundamentally shifts medicine away from just reacting to sickness and toward actually predicting and planning for a longer, healthier life. And for our final story today, what if getting a comprehensive health screening was as easy as taking a selfie? Well, a startup in Berlin is working to make that idea a reality, using your smartphone's camera as a surprisingly powerful diagnostic tool. The potential here is just wow. In under 2 minutes, using nothing but your phone's camera, it claims it can screen for over 50 different biomarkers. We're talking things like blood pressure and oxygen saturation across 10 different organ systems, all from your phone. Now, this really matters because it tears down the biggest barriers that stop people from getting preventative health screenings: the cost, the time, the sheer inconvenience of it all. If the accuracy can be validated, this could make early detection accessible to literally everyone with a smartphone. So after hearing all this, the big question is, what should you do? All this innovation is really exciting, for sure, but the risks are also very real. The future is truly in your hands, and being an informed, smart user is your absolute best defense. So the biggest takeaway here is to be proactive. Here are 4 practical steps. First, look for independent, peer-reviewed studies that actually validate a device's accuracy. Second, I know it's a pain, but actually read the privacy policy. See who they say they're sharing your data with. Third, be really careful about which other apps you connect to your wearable. And finally, and this is so important, remember to use these gadgets for awareness, as a guide, not as a substitute for a real doctor's diagnosis.
We'll leave you with this one last question to think about. The line between healthcare and consumer technology has basically disappeared. Your personal health data is now an incredibly valuable product, and the most important decision you're going to make is deciding who you trust to own it, to analyze it, and ultimately to sell it.
The takeaway? Innovation is expanding our potential, but we must remain gatekeepers of our own biometrics. If you want a futuristic perspective that values your privacy as much as your progress, hit subscribe and join the lab. I am Devendra Murmu, and I will see you next week.